Introducing Brain Bridge, the world's first revolutionary concept for a head transplant machine, which uses state-of-the-art robotics and artificial intelligence to conduct complete head and face transplantation procedures, ensuring smooth outcomes and faster recoveries. Because head transplants require high speed, precision, and efficiency, Brain Bridge utilizes advanced high-speed, high-precision robotic systems to speed up the process, eliminate human error, prevent brain cell degradation, and ensure seamless compatibility. The head transplant procedure involves removing a person's entire head containing the brain from their current diseased body and attaching it to the body of a healthy, young, brain-dead donor. Head transplants could provide individuals with severe medical conditions such as terminal cancer, paralysis, spinal cord injuries, or neurodegenerative diseases the opportunity to have a fully functional body while preserving their consciousness, memories, and cognitive abilities. The neurons are the longest-lasting functional cells in the human body, and according to our estimates, the brain is capable of lasting several hundred years provided that the rest of the body remains young. The Brain Bridge concept involves the use of the integrated robotics platform comprised of the 2 autonomous surgical robots, designed to perform simultaneous surgeries on 2 bodies side by side within a single setup. The complete robotization of the process allows for the surgery to be performed in an environment with varying temperature and pressure. The procedure begins by preparing the donor and recipient bodies. The donor is a brain-dead patient who has a functional body with vital organs in good condition, while the recipient is the patient whose head will be transplanted onto the new body. General anesthesia is administered to both the recipient and the donor. Both patients undergo tracheotomy, with a tube inserted into the trachea to provide respiratory support and facilitate mechanical ventilation. Our proprietary artificial plasma solution is administered to both the recipient and the donor.
Yeah, folks, you can see why we definitely need AI doctors, hey? Who else is going to manage the head transplants? I mean, you can't make this shit up, folks. Some of the stuff they come up with is literally astounding. But yeah, head transplants, that sounds great. They'll be able to put the old heads on young bodies. That won't look weird at all. It's just mind-boggling, some of the stuff these people come up with and some of the shit they try to sell the public on. Like climate change, really, carbon zero. And what is carbon zero? Carbon zero is the removal of all life. That's what it is, because we are all carbon-based life forms, as I've pointed out so many times in the past. Back in the secret garden, folks, as you can see, things are coming along quite nicely in this place. It's starting to look really good, a lot of repair work going on. You know, with all the corruption that we've got in the world, the government corruption, the fake wars, all the bullshit that our government tries to sell us all the time, it's important to understand that they couldn't get away with this without the complicity of the mainstream media, which was originally created in order to be a watchdog of government, and over the past couple of decades, or even probably longer, but certainly been consolidated in the last couple of decades, the media has basically turned into the unofficial mouthpiece of government. There's no true journalism anymore. What happens in journalism, the politicians go outside of the building, and there's a media person waiting out there for them, and then the government person just gives the media person a document and says, say this. And then they get on TV and they pretend like they're a journalist and they're all informed about what's going on, and all they're really doing is reading from the script the government gave them. Such a joke, folks. It's such a fraud, the whole thing. Government doesn't mean a nation exists or not, you know, and it was never even a nation, but nothing was a nation. You know, the land of Persia was just the land of Persia. It was never perceived as a nation. The land of Arabia was simply the land of Arabia, the land of Egypt. You know? The concept of nations, this is a corporate idea that has come about in the last 150 years or so. And it's just a big facade, folks. It's a smokescreen to stop you thinking about what's really going on here. And what's really going on is the human race is being slowly exterminated. And the freaky part about it is that many people are actually cheering this on and going along with their own extermination, going along with their own depopulation. That's what carbon zero is all about. Absolutely insane, but that's what our government does. And that's what the media pushes. Again, as I said, folks, the media is just as culpable and just as complicit as the criminals masquerading as politicians that we have in our so-called governments. These are not governments, folks, these are criminal enterprises. All of them are criminal enterprises. But, you know, that's just the nature of government, isn't it? Criminal racketeering, folks, is what best describes our governments. People pay protection money in the form of taxes, pay registration, all this sort of stuff. This is all just protection money. It's all just racketeering. You register your business and you pay your taxes, or will come and do bad things to you. Mob mentality, folks. It's mob racketeering. That's what it is. Disgusting, really. But hey, the people just go along with it. You know, and the goal is to keep war going on forever. I mean, that's what they want to do. Speaking about forever, there's also a new website in Australia called Do You Want to Live Forever? Or it's a new TV show, Do You Want to Live Forever? Talking about people's diets and all sorts of stuff and how people can be enhanced with AI and blah, blah, blah. All leading people into this whole AI reality, folks. That's what they want to do. They want people to give their power away and let AI control their lives. As I've said before, soon you're not even going to need government because you're going to have AI working out all the decisions. It'll all be based on your social credit points and your carbon credit points and all of this sort of stuff. You know, once you get below a certain threshold, the AI will already know what your re-education needs to be, and all I have to do is send around the police to pick you up. And soon these won't even be real police. Soon these will be robot police. Even now China's equipping those robot dogs with machine guns. We've seen the US talking about doing this as well. Say they need it for the war, you know. Well, what's the war going to be like? What, are you going to have a whole bunch of robots go in and fight each other? Well, what's that going to do? How's that going to achieve anything? It's not really a war, is it? It's just theatre for the masses. And if you want this one unified world after the Great Reset, then what's that going to be? If you've got this one unified world, why do you need an army? Well, you need an army because it isn't about that. It's about one unified dictatorship worldwide, and having the army, which will be mainly robots and AI, keep everybody in line the way the parasites at the top want them to do. That's what it's all about, folks. And this is what we've been saying for years and years, and it's becoming obvious. But yeah, the whole AI thing is where they want to take this. You know, this is all being rolled out underneath all this other stuff that's happening. And they want World War III, they want massive depopulation, and they want AI control for all who are left. There was even a report I saw the other day about LED lights being weaponized.
How do we know that this is a weapon system? Check out this footage. This guy is staring right into the camera just before it takes him out. He knows where it's coming from. And many other people have experienced the exact same thing. People know that these cameras have been weaponized. It's not just the ULEZ cameras. It's basically all CCTV cameras that are connected to the smart grid that have been weaponized. And it's taking people out. This is the new social credit score system that people are trying to warn you about, and it's very real. And so let's just look at this footage again, because this is basically the last will and testament of this victim trying to let you know what's going on. So he feels like he's being attacked. He's looking at the source. He's staring right into the camera. He knows where it's coming from. And that's all she wrote. For this victim and many other victims that are being taken out right now. This is why people need to get the message out there that this smart city infrastructure has been weaponized, and it's a real threat to people all around the world, including children. We're seeing children getting taken out You see how these people are spinning around like something's attacking them. Sometimes you'll see them flailing their arms. They're trying to protect themselves. This isn't a vaccine-related heart attack where people just drop dead. This is something completely different. And you wouldn't know unless people brought it up. And that's why we're talking about it, because this system has been weaponized. And it's slightly different than other energy weapon-based systems. This is actually using photons, weaponized photons. It's the LED light itself that has been weaponized in these cameras. And it's the same thing with the new cars with the LED headlights and the street lights. This is one component of the weapon system. The other component is classic energy weapon beamforming technology as well. But these things are going up everywhere, especially in the UK and in every smart city network. And basically it's part of the social credit score system. It's just one layer of what we're dealing with. But looking at these cameras in action, you can tell there's something wrong. You can even feel this thing basically through the video. That's how bad these things are.
See, when you put all this together, you put these LED lights, you put the 5G communication system, which is essentially a weapons system, and you put mRNA, and you put it all together, and you find out where this can go. Now, they say they've got a vaccine now for any disease, even ones they haven't discovered yet. You've got to wonder how they can do that. Well, it's because they put these mRNA injections into people, which can be used for anything they want. And how it works with 5G, I mean, as I've said before, 5G is a weapons system and it's a targeting system. 5G can target you directly. It's a focus beam. It doesn't just put out an ambient wave so you use it for communication. It's actually a focused beam. So they can target you directly with the 5G system using a millimeter wave. When you put this mRNA into people, mRNA can contain multiple payloads, produce any type of spike protein you want it to produce, depending on the frequency you apply to it. So once you've put this mRNA into people, we'll just pick a frequency. What disease belongs to that frequency? And we'll hit this particular person with this frequency, and then they will develop the disease you want them to develop. And I think a lot of the people just dropping dead, you will find that these are test cases in all this. A lot of the people dropping dead that we're seeing spinning around, as just shown in that report, they all look directly at the camera. The camera contains these LED lights in there, and all of these LED lights can be tailored and focused in such a way that they can put this frequency into people's bodies. And remember, LED is Wi-Fi. LED is a far more effective form of Wi-Fi than what we're using. They call it Li-Fi, light fidelity. LED is basically another internet that exists behind the internet we use that a lot of people don't know is there. All connected, folks, all connected. Millimeter waves, LED lighting, mRNA jabs, graphene. When you start looking at the bigger picture, you see how all of this connects together. And again, they're going to be bringing it all under the control of this AI system. Still trying to bring in digital currency and all that sort of stuff. There's now a bunch of countries that have rolled back their digital currencies because it's just not working. It's creating too much hardship. I mean, when the system goes down, people can't buy anything. And a lot of people are getting wind of this now, and so they don't want it. So that's a good thing. I mean, they're failing in so many ways with what they're doing, folks. But they're still pushing it and still trying to make it happen. That's just what these people do, folks. It's what these people do. You know, and it's all about the destruction of humanity. A lady called Laura Aboli. Fantastic talk. I mean, she totally gets it, what this is all about. It's about people agreeing to their own extinction. That's what the transgender movement is about. That's what the transhuman movement is about. And this is all stuff that I talked about in my last film, my 2012 film called Transformation. I I talked about the post-human society and how we were being moved into a transhuman society and where all this would lead. And they're using it for everything now, folks. So like I said, at the start of the show, AI doctors, they're now even talking about AI prisons for people, whereby you can have your memory replaced while you're in suspended animation. And they're saying it'll be great for prisoners because it'll feel like just a few minutes. You could put them down for 20 years and it'll just feel like a few minutes. Remember that show, what was it called, Demolition Man, that had Sylvester Stallone and Dennis Leary. I think Sandra Bullock was in it as well. And he was a cop who'd done some heinous thing, killed some other cop or done something wrong, whatever. And they put him in suspended animation and he came out 20 or 30 years later and he had this urge to crochet or knit or something because that was one of the programs that had running while he was in incarceration in suspended animation.
Detective?
Listen, I'm sorry about last night. Here, I made this for you.
For me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I'll drive. I gotta learn to do this once in my life.
Okay. Thank you for the lovely gift.
Look, I don't know what you guys put into my cryo slush, but when I thawed out, the first thing I wanted to do was knit. I mean, how come I know what a zipper foot and a shuttle and a hook and bobbin and a petty point is? I can weave a throw rug right now with my eyes closed.
It's part of your rehab program. For each inmate, the computer draws up a skill or trade which best suits their genetic disposition. And it would implant the knowledge and the desire to carry out whatever training was assigned.
I'm a seamstress? Oh, that's just great. I come out of cryo prison and I'm Betsy fucking Ross. If Phoenix comes out and he can access computers, operate all vehicles, knows the location of every damn thing in town, and is 3 times stronger than when he went in? Can you give me Phoenix's rehab program now?
Sure.
I'm a seamstress.
Access code for Simon Phoenix?
Access Simon Phoenix. Accessing. Access denied.
What?
Security override.
This can't be right.
Access granted, Officer Huxley. Accessing Simon Phoenix, Deep File Rehab 65R. Urban combat kill, torture methodology, computer override authority, survival
some
tactics,
mistake.
terrorism tactics, weapons training, martial arts, murder, death, kill, explosives technician, violent behavior.
This isn't a proper rehabilitation program.
No kidding.
This would create a monster.
Well, this is the sort of stuff that they're leading towards now with these new suspended animation brain reprogramming prisons. Check this out.
Welcome to Cognify, a facility designed to treat criminals like patients. Instead of spending years in an actual prison cell, prisoners could finish their sentence here in just a few minutes. Cognify could someday create and implant artificial memories directly into the prisoner's brain. These complex, vivid, and lifelike memories are created in real time using AI-generated content. Depending on the seriousness of the subject's crime and their sentence, the memories could be tailored to the rehabilitation needs of each subject. The artificial memories implanted by Cognify would be seamlessly incorporated into the existing neural networks of the brain, preventing cognitive dissonance and ensuring the subject experiences the memories as if they were real. The Cognify concept offers a new approach to criminal rehabilitation, transforming how society deals with offenders by focusing on rehabilitation rather than punishment. First, the prisoner is given a choice, either spending tens of years in a prison cell or seeking fast-track rehabilitation through artificial memory implantation. If the prisoner chooses to undergo fast-track rehabilitation, the Cognify device is used. Next, the prisoner undergoes high-resolution brain scanning to create a detailed map of their neural pathways. This brain map helps guide the Cognify device to target specific brain regions responsible for memory, reasoning, and logical thinking. such as the hippocampus, prefrontal cortex, amygdala, parietal lobe, and anterior cingulate cortex. Once the target brain regions are identified, Cognify is then placed around the head of the prisoner. The intensity and the type of artificial memories is then adjusted depending on the crime. Inside the criminal's mind, time would pass differently, slower than in real life, making them experience years' worth of artificial memories in just a few minutes. Synthetic memories are customized depending on the crime committed and the unique brain structure and psychological profile of the individual. Violent offenders could experience memories that are designed to trigger empathy and remorse, seeing their crime from the perspective of their victim, feeling their pain and suffering firsthand. Some memories are designed to trigger consequences and trauma. Such memories could simulate the long-term consequences of violent actions, such as the grief of the victim's family or the physical and emotional trauma endured by the victim. Artificial memories could cover a wide range of crimes, including domestic violence, hate crimes and discrimination, embezzlement, insider trading, theft and fraud. Cognify emotion regulation system could modulate neurotransmitters and hormones to induce specific emotional states, such as remorse or regret, which is crucial for rehabilitation. Real-time monitoring and feedback mechanisms could track the prisoner's neural responses throughout the process, allowing the system to adapt and optimize the rehabilitation in real time with new visuals, sensation, and realistic AI-generated content. To ensure the long-term effect of the therapy session, the memories could become permanent, fully integrated into the subject's mind, as if they were part of their own personal experiences. While subjects are undergoing therapy session, valuable data are collected from all the prisoners into a central computer for scientific research, which will help understand the criminal mind and determine the best approach to tackle crimes in society. AI-driven analytics could enhance the device's functionality, optimizing future procedures based on gathered data and insights. Cognify could feature encrypted storage for sensitive prisoner information and rehabilitation data. A compact and portable design would allow Cognify to be used anywhere in the world. It would be constructed with durable materials to withstand frequent use. Its energy-efficient design would ensure long operational life, reducing the need for frequent recharges. It would have the ability to integrate seamlessly with other prison systems, like security cameras and biometric identification. Once the therapy session is concluded, family members of the subject could be provided with a comprehensive report on the new artificial memories that have been implanted, offering them a chance to adjust to the subject's new, positive personality traits. The subject is then released back into society to start a new life away from crimes. The Cognify concept could revolutionize the criminal justice system by significantly reducing the need for long-term incarceration and its associated costs. Traditional prisons require substantial budgets for construction, maintenance, staffing, and prisoner care, including food, healthcare, and rehabilitation programs. By replacing extended prison sentences with brief, intensive rehabilitation through artificial memory implantation, the costs of maintaining prison facilities and supporting inmates could be drastically lowered. The funds saved from reduced incarceration and recidivism rates could be reallocated to other critical areas. These might include education, healthcare, infrastructure development, social welfare programs, or research and development initiatives that benefit society as a whole. By rehabilitating offenders more quickly, Cognify could enable them to reintegrate into society sooner and contribute to the workforce. This increased productivity could boost the economy and generate tax revenue, further offsetting the initial investment in such technology. Successful rehabilitation through Cognify could lead to safer communities, reduced crime rates, and improved social well-being. This could have far-reaching positive impacts on individuals, families, and society as a whole, contributing to a more stable and prosperous future. Apart from treating criminals, Cognify could also be used to treat severe memory loss by helping patients recall their past memories. It could also treat patients with PTSD by implanting positive memories that replace the negative ones.
Interesting stuff, folks. Maybe we could do that to our politicians, because frankly all these people need to be taken out of office, all these people need to be arrested. And you've got to wonder how much it's going to be for people to take. With all the depopulation that's going on, so many people dying from the jab still. There's a beauty model or an influencer died the other day, 25 or 30 years old or something. Beautiful woman, died on a boat. Massive coronary. How did that happen? There's now turbo cancers, turbo aging as well they're seeing in people.
Well, actually, the elastic fibers are a very late development in the evolution of life. These are structures that, like a rubber band, have elasticity. And these fibers are formed in the first years of the life. Around puberty, no more or only very little elastic fibers are formed anymore. So it's a permanent structure. It's very important for the arteries, especially the main artery, the aorta, because it gives elasticity. It is important in the lung because it gives elasticity in breathing. And it is also important in the skin because it gives the baby face appearance of the skin. And if you get older, these elastic fibers of the skin are destroyed by ultraviolet variation. So that's why we look older when we get old. There have been very convincing reports that people after the vaccination suddenly appear to look much older. Now, this may be due to psychological factors too, but we definitely have proof that these elastic fibers, in some cases, are profoundly destroyed in the skin. I have one example here, and you see on the left side, there's a very delicate network of very fine elastic fibers. They are black. On the top is the epithelium of the dermis, and here you can see this man. He's 38 years old, and he has a vasculitis of the skin. Here you can see there's these very delicate black lines here. These are the remnants of the elastic fibers, and there's no network below the basement membrane.
Turbo aging. People are aging prematurely. I told you this was going to happen, folks. I told you this was going to happen like 2 years ago. They've taken away your body's ability to repair itself. So you're going to find people aging rapidly. You're going to find people dying of older age diseases when they're quite young because their body is just going to adapt to whatever premorbidity they've got. And it's not going to be able to heal itself from that because that's what this mRNA jab has done. Now, mRNA is important. It produces antibodies and things that your body needs to repair itself, to repair its cells. And now, people who've had the jab, the only antibodies this mRNA is producing are the ones the government tells it to produce. It's very, very dangerous stuff, folks. So turbo cancers, turbo aging, young, healthy people dropping of cardiac arrest. I mean, we've seen how many sports people have died over the last couple of years. It's been absolutely horrendous, the damage that they've done to the human race. But when you look at the whole carbon zero agenda, you see exactly what their plan is, and doing it from every angle that they possibly can, through jabs, through breaking down the food chain. In Australia now, they've just identified that the tap water is full of all sorts of carcinogens and it's not safe for use. And this isn't just for drinking, folks. I mean, this is what people bathe in as well. Your skin is your biggest organ. You are absorbing all of these carcinogenic chemicals into your body.
Drinking water across parts of Australia has been found to contain dangerous cancer-causing chemicals. The contaminants were found in every state across the country, with hotspots in New South Wales and Queensland. Joining us for more is Dr. Marion Lloyd-Smith, live from Ballina. Dr. Marion, thanks so much for your time this morning. This is pretty alarming. We're talking about tap water here. I mean, something we all consume every day. So just how dangerous are the chemicals currently allowed in our tap water?
They're a very nasty group of chemicals. There's about 14,000 PFAS chemicals, different ones for different uses. But what we know is they're linked to kidney and liver disease, dysregulation of our thyroid and insulin, reproductive problems, developmental problems in children, and of course cancer. And the makers of these chemicals have had to pay out many millions of dollars in the US to people who have been exposed and have suffered cancer. Unbelievably, though, our regulatory agencies here in Australia just dismiss all of this evidence and say that there's no clear evidence that they cause disease, which honestly is beyond belief. So we are talking about a very nasty group, which are also bioaccumulative. They build up in our bodies. Women pass them on to their children. They're transboundary. They volatilize into the air and disappear into a different country that may never have used them. So they really are a horrible bunch.
I mean, Doc, hearing you talk about it in such a way is troubling in the sense that, I mean, how much do you actually have to consume it? Because you look around you right now, everyone seems to be okay currently consuming this water. What are we talking about here in terms of who it's affecting and how much you actually have to consume before it's impacting you?
We literally don't know that fact. And even though there's been so much work over the last 20 years on PFAS chemicals in assessment, both at UN level and in the US, we don't know exactly how much will cause disease. And the problem is, because they're bioaccumulative, every exposure just builds up a little bit more in your body. And so I can't say this amount will cause this disease. What we can say is the US regulatory authorities have said clearly that they do not think there is a safe level of exposure. And once a regulatory agency says that, you really alert, every alarm bell. Basically what they're saying is you need to reduce your exposure to as close to zero as you possibly can. And we know how hard that is, but it is still something we need to do.
They plan to depopulate the world. That's what they're doing. Now bring all the migrants into your country, and all these migrants have been brought in by false pretenses. You can't really blame them. I mean, a lot of them have got really bad ideas, like Muslim extremists and stuff. And again, Muslim extremism was created. The first books ever written on Muslim extremism were printed in America in Pensacola University. The first talk of Muslim extremism was a notion that was put forth by Zbigniew Brzezinski in the Gulf War when Afghanistan was fighting Russia. And they trained the Afghani people to view the Russians as being not just attacking their country, but attacking their faith. And they created Muslim extremism. But now, I mean, this has rubbed off on a lot of people. There's a lot of bad Muslims doing a lot of bad things. Not so in Gaza. I'm not blaming the people in Gaza, but, I think all religion is demented anyway. So, all these people have been brought into US and other countries, into Western countries, and you think, look what they've got to go on, folks. Look at the backstory on this. Whether you like or dislike Muslims, you've got to understand all of their countries, the countries these people are coming from: Sudan, Somalia, Syria, Iraq, Lebanon. All of these countries have been completely and utterly decimated by the US government and Western governments, by NATO essentially. And now they're bringing all of these people who've all had relatives die and all experienced hardship and all lost their homes and all been forced to move from their homes to a foreign country because of what NATO has done to their countries. So you can't really blame them for hating the United States and saying, yeah, we're going to come here, we're going to come to the United States, we're going to come to England, we're going to breed more than you, and then in 25 years the whole country is going to be Muslim and you people are going to be gone. Sounds like a pretty terrible concept, but I can't judge these people for wanting to do that, not after what the West has put them through. And the argument the United States will say, well, we've got to support Israel. Israel is our only ally in the Middle East. The funny thing is that I don't think anyone can remember the United States having any enemies in the Middle East before the creation of the rogue state of Israel. So, and again, folks, Israel has nothing to do with the state of Israel, as pointed out by, what was that lady, Dr. Lorraine Day. She pointed out that in the Bible, Israel is actually a mindset. An Israelite is someone who believes in the one true God. And I would suggest that that is not what the Israeli people do. Israel was never supposed to be a state. Israel was always a place marked on a map which showed where the religions of Christian, Judaism and Islam were all created. They all come out of this place. The Jews claiming they have an ancestral claim to the land of Israel, which doesn't actually exist. It's just a place that existed within Palestine, the Holy Land that existed within Palestine, where people got this notion about there being one true God. That's where it comes from. It's nothing to do with a state, it's nothing to do with a country, it's nothing to do with a race of people. The original Israelites that apparently left that area during the Exodus were a mongrel race of Mongols and Turks and all sorts of people. And it tells you this in the Bible as well. So, if you're a Christian who believes in this book, then you really need to do your due diligence and look at what you're supporting. If you trust Jesus and all that sort of thing, well, Jesus said apparently that it's those people who claim they are Jews but are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. That's who modern Israelis actually are, folks. They have nothing to do with that area at all. And this whole thing has been contrived. And they're going about genociding the people of Palestine, claiming that it's their land, when it actually isn't. Yeah, and again, pushing all of this AI stuff on everybody as well, which is resulting in turbo aging and all sorts of crap. But see, all the mRNA and all this sort of shit, I think they put mRNA in pretty well everybody who had the jab, and it's just up to them who they choose to terminate. And maybe they're terminating all these young people, and these young women are dying of cardiac arrest and all sorts of stuff, and sports people, just enough to put it into the minds of people that this can happen. And with media propaganda, a lot of people will believe it. They won't associate the jab with it at all. They'll just say, well, this is a new thing that's happening, it's probably due to climate change. That's really how stupid a lot of people are, folks. With everything they're doing, like these turbo cancers and turbo aging and putting this mRNA into people, breaking down the food chain, poisoning the water, as we've just seen in Australia. I mean, how much are people going to take of this shit? Honestly, folks, how much are you going to take? At what point do you say, hey, listen, you guys are corrupt, you need to get out of the building? As I've been saying, people's mandates. Do a people's mandate, mandating that the politicians in power perform the following actions. They have 30 days to comply. If they don't do so, they will be dismissed. You could do that because a lot of people who actually believe the system is real will see this as a viable thing, and they'll want to sign up to it. Then when the government doesn't do that, they're basically declaring that, hey, no, we're a dictatorship and we're just going to do whatever the fuck we want. People might get it then. You might wake up enough people to actually make a difference. But getting back to transhumanism and all that sort of stuff, there's also a website that I saw called What Will Life Be Like in Australia in 2064? This is pretty dystopian, folks. Of course, they're trying to sell it to you as something great. When AI will control every aspect of your life, you'll have nanobots in your blood. You'll have all these personal advisors. You'll be living in a virtual world. You'll have digital cash. You won't be going outside. You won't be doing anything. You'll have a zombie self. Interesting term for them to use. A zombie version of yourself, which will either exist online or be in the form of a robot that's in your house that actually has your personality and learns from your personality and basically becomes you. And you'll be asking it for advice, and it will be able to go to meetings for you and all sorts of shit like that. You ever see that movie Surrogate with Bruce Willis? It came out in the 80s, I think, and it had people just sitting in these pods at home, and they had young versions of themselves going out around the world and around society, doing their jobs for them, all that sort of shit. Look where they're wanting to head it, folks. What life will be like in 2064. Wonderful stuff. But yeah, they're now saying AI is going to save the world as well. I saw an article on MSNBC the other day saying that environmental stuff, we need AI to fix up the environment. In fact, AI is playing a big part in stabilising the environment. And we know where all this is going, folks. The merging of man with machine. Soon you'll be able to live forever as a cyborg, and that's exactly where they want you to go. There's even games that are talking about this now. A lot of the children's games, computer games, have been leading people down this path for a long time, but they're getting really blatant about it now.
In a fleeting heartbeat of time, humanity's own creation sparked a nuclear inferno, turning our vibrant Earth into a solemn testament of our own folly. The world as we knew, it was engulfed in nuclear fire, marking the end of an era.
The sole survivor clung to a vision, a blueprint for forging a new future from the ashes of the old.
As the dust settles on a world forever changed, a new generation of beings emerges. After 4 billion years of relentless evolution, Earth finally witnessed the dawn of its first cyborg society, a fusion of advanced AI entities and bionic humanoids, a landmark in the saga of life's progression. Influenced by the intellect of their creators, they faced a decisive moment to preserve humanity by fostering a new generation. Echoing an ancient tale, the first cyborg-humanoid intimacy unfolded. A modern Adam and Eve in a dance of creation, rekindling humanity's genesis.
A silent promise of life's continuation, setting the stage for a new era where technology and humanity converge, renewing life itself.
Continuing the legacy they were born from, nurturing human children as their own, they forged a unique society where humans and artificial beings coexist. A unified government and army stand vigilant, guardians against history's repetition, ensuring Earth's safety. Humans learn to live in harmony, transcending barriers of race and gender, embodying a future of peace and equality.
Yeah, and it shows where they're going, folks. And as I said, even the transgender thing, as the lady said, Laura Aboli, and as I've been saying for years, people who move into this transgender, gender-neutral stuff will be a lot easier to get to merge with machine, because the machine, of course, will have no gender. If you're a robot, you can't have a gender. And that's what it's all about, folks. A lot of guys taking advantage of it at the moment, actually, though, folks. There's a lot of guys joining the military who are just identifying as a female because of all the perks that you get.
Well, dudes that have been changing to chicks are crushing it right now. Male Spanish soldiers are self-identifying as women to get better army digs. Army Corporal Roberto, who registered as a female in the past 12 months, reportedly he gets a better salary now. He has nicer accommodations. And then also, he was told that his pension's gone up because women get more to compensate for inequality. Also gets a 15% more annual salary for being a mother. You know what the best part is? Because out of respect for, he said he didn't want to be in the female houses and showering with them and stuff. So they just gave him his own house. So Corporal's been allowed to maintain his beard because facial hair is permitted for women, whereas guys have to shave their beard.
What do you mean facial hair is permitted for
There's
women?
nothing in the code of conduct about women having facial hair.
This is just a smart guy. He's a smart lady, sorry.
Pretty smart sort of a guy. Gets to keep his beard, gets to live in his own house, and he could always say, hey, well, you know, I identify as a female, but I'm a lesbian. I just love women. So, you know, it's a clever guy. But that's a lot of benefits that you get just from being a woman, and there's no law on facial hair because women apparently don't grow beards. So there's no regulations regarding that. And because he wants to respect the people who may not approve of his transgenderism, he doesn't want to shower with them, so he gets his own little cabin. Clever guy, folks, clever guy. Yeah, you can do that sort of stuff and just throw this system back at them. But of course, I mean, a lot of it's getting thrown back at women. You've got rapists that are getting convicted and they're identifying as women, so the judge is putting them in a women's prison where they can just rape all the women that they like. It's just remarkable, folks, absolutely remarkable. And how did the human race get this stupid? And when you see all this, you know, it's no wonder people are letting their government destroy the food chain and poison their water and cut off their children's genitals and all the shit they're doing, supporting all this crap that's going on in Gaza. You know, and it's all falling apart, folks. Israel will never recover from what it's done in Gaza. The whole anti-Semitic Holocaust narrative is completely breaking down via their actions in Gaza. They've woken up so many people, folks. It's absolutely remarkable. And that's kind of good to see. But this whole carbon zero thing as well, and this shows why the world is so stupid as well, just proves the world is mainly stupid. Because carbon zero is the end of all life. Carbon zero is the end of all these plants, the end of all these animals, the end of humans, the end of everything, folks. All of this that you see here, including the people you might see walking around, including me and including you, all of this is carbon-based life. Carbon zero is insidious. Carbon zero is attempting to destroy the human race and merge what is left with machine. You know, and putting all this graphene and these operating systems and all this stuff they're putting in people's bodies, creating the intra-body nano network that I spoke about back in 2021, just after Christmas, like Christmas 2020, 2021, I was speaking about the intra-body nano network, the internet of bodies, how everybody was being shifted online. That's how they're doing it. The gateway device being the smartphone, but now you don't even need that. If you've got this mRNA in your body, what they give you through the jab, well then they can target you even through LED lighting, which is pretty freaky stuff, folks. But this is stuff that I was talking about, like I said, back in 2012. It's stuff I've been warning people of for many years, and it's exactly what's happening. We got a question, folks. What's it going to take for people to realize what carbon zero is, what all this nanotech is, and what the solution to all of it is? Which is for people to stop believing in authority. It's their belief in authority, their belief that the system is real, the belief that government has control over them, which is what makes all this happen. You take away that belief, you step into your moral compass, and the whole system collapses. They can't do anything that they're doing now. They can't stage these wars if nobody goes. All the military men, who Kissinger referred to as dumb, stupid animals to be used as pawns in foreign policy, if these people were to wake up to that's what the government thinks of you, which they should see anyway, just from what happens to the vets. I mean, they say all this wonderful stuff. You go into an airport in the United States, they give all these special allowances and discounts if you're a serviceman, if you're ex-military, and make it sound all really good and like you're really looked after. But there's so many homeless ex-servicemen, there's so many homeless soldiers, so many soldiers with mental problems, so many Israeli soldiers developing mental problems as well, because of the amount of trauma that they're inducing on other people in Palestine. You can't go out there and just kill children every day and kill women every day and rape and pillage and plunder the way Israelis do and not come through it unscathed, folks. It does something to you mentally and emotionally, and we're seeing a lot of this happen in Israel. Even people like the guy from Spain in La Quinta Columna, who discovered all the nanotech and the operating systems and all these circuit boards that are being built inside people, has now been saying he believes that there is some form of extraterrestrial non-human force behind all this, because humans can't survive what's going on. No one who respects humans, no one who is human could possibly be wanting to do this, because they're going to suffer just as much as everybody else. Well, all the stuff that's in the drinking water, all the stuff that's in the food, doesn't matter how much you try to shelter yourself from this, all the chemtrails in the sky, I mean, it doesn't matter how much you try to shelter yourself from all of this, you can't. And the chemtrails are affecting all the soil, so food isn't growing properly anymore. I mean, the earth is being systematically and methodically depopulated. You just got to wonder who's doing it or what's doing it. So yeah, maybe people should go back and revisit some of the stuff that David Icke has said. I mean, he's been pretty damn right with a lot of the stuff over the years. I mean, admittedly, I haven't read any of his books, but I've been to a couple of his presentations, and he was dead right in everything he was saying at those presentations. So yeah. And again, folks, it's our belief in authority which allows this to happen. People saying, oh, Max, you never provide any solutions. I've actually provided you with the solution on every single video I've ever done, every video report I've ever done, every movie I've ever done. The answer is you. We are the ones we've been waiting for. If we can change our perspective, change the direction our moral compass is pointed, and stop believing in people's authority over you, we change things. You know, we hold the keys to it all. It was actually quite eloquently said in the latest Mad Max film by Lord Dementus, played by Chris Hemsworth, when he went to raid the citadel of Immortan Joe. Check this out.
All of you, all who protect and honor this magnificent citadel, you have a choice, a very attractive choice. I want your leaders. I want those who hold dominance over you. Bring me your leaders and throw them down. Throw them down and you'll avoid more suffering and sorrow. They exploit you, they enslave you, they wash their feet in your sweat and blood, and they give you nothing in return. Listen to this truth. Big shots rule only because you choose to follow. The power is with you. You are free to choose. Come to me. Come to me with your pain and burden, and I will double your grub. Food and water for everyone as much as you like. We will share the wealth. You will rule with me in the splendor of a new wasteland. Adorable. I'm afraid for you, sweetheart. Really afraid. Because Big Jilly here is going to scoop you out both ends, mush it up and feed it back to you. That ain't nothing compared to what Mr. Norton here is dreaming of doing to you. Because Mr. Norton really hates big shots. Then there's Mr. Harley. G'day, mate. Mr. Davison. Rizdale Pell and 1,000 other mad bastards coming after you, and there ain't nothing I can do to stop them.